What's up, everyone?
Welcome back to another video.
Today we are partnering up with our friends over at Bob's Red Mill once again, as we do every month.
We're bringing you guys some baked goods. It is fall and we got something special going on today. So we are making vegan conchas. Conchas, Mexican sweetbread, pan dulce.
It smells so good.
Chris has never had a non-vegan one, right?
Correct. This is the first. Well, Jasmine started testing these back in July. So we
made them six different variations of them. These are the ones.
At that point, that was the first I've ever had, and they've all been delicious, but Jasmine is a connoisseur of sorts.
Okay. So I grew up eating these, especially during the holidays, and we thought it would be the perfect time to share a recipe for it. It's fall, baking, I feel like those things go together. You guys are probably gonna be doing a lot of baking, and we've been doing a lot of sweets on our channel and our blog, and it seems like you guys are loving them, so.
We hope so, at least. And make sure you check out Bob's Red Mill. They have the largest line of whole grain and organic products.
All their products are certified kosher, going from non-GMO seeds, high quality, minimally processed, and we have a discount code down below.
Make sure you check that out.
And make sure you guys try out these conchas, please.
They're bomb.
I've worked so hard for you guys, and I really think you're going to love them. So without further ado,
let's get into it.
To start off our conchas, we're going to grab a large bowl, and to that you're going to add some warm water. You don't want it too hot because you don't want to kill the yeast, so just make sure of that. Pour in some sugar as well as some active dry yeast, and then you're going to mix this a little bit and set it aside for about 15 minutes to activate. And once it has set, we're going to add in some butter and the remaining sugar. And just mix that together until everything is nice and uniform, and then you're going to add in some apple cider vinegar as well. I totally forgot to add that, and then set that aside. Next up is the star ingredient, the aquafaba. Aquafaba is the liquid that comes in a can of chickpeas, and when you whip it, it becomes nice and fluffy. So we're going to add it to a bowl with some cream of tartar, which is vegan, and whip it with a hand mixer or a standing mixer until it becomes nice and fluffy. So we're using the aquafaba in place of eggs in this recipe. Traditionally, conchas are nice and fluffy, and this is what helps us achieve that without actually using eggs. And once your aquafaba looks like this, you're going to set it aside and prepare the dry ingredients. So grab another bowl, and to that we're going to add in some all-purpose flour, some salt, and some baking soda. We're going to mix that together until everything is nice and uniform, and I totally forgot an ingredient, some cinnamon as well, so just add that in and mix it through. And then the next step is to actually combine the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients and the aquafaba. So grab your bowl with the yeast mixture and pour in the dry ingredients. And we like to do this a little at a time just to make sure it mixes evenly, and it's easier to mix this way as well. So just keep adding more flour and mixing that through. And then on our last batch of flour, I could say, before you mix it in completely, we're actually going to add in the aquafaba at this stage. So as you can see, the dough is still crumbly, but we're going to add in the aquafaba and fold that in gently. We don't want to get rid of the air that it's bringing into the recipe. And then from there, you can just adjust the flour as needed, add more flour if the dough is too sticky. We ended up having to add a little bit more flour. You want it to be a nice, soft, and supple dough that doesn't stick to your hands, but also isn't too dry. So next up, we're just going to knead the dough just a little bit. You don't need to do too much. I did about 5 minutes of it. Roll it into a ball, and then we are going to add that to a greased bowl. Flip it around in the bowl to make sure the dough is nice and moist, and then you're going to cover it with a clean towel and set it aside for 2 hours to rise. In the meantime, we are going to make our toppings. So we have some softened butter here. We're going to add some sugar and cream those two together, which basically means we're going to whip it together until it is nice and smooth. And then once that is nice and mixed together, we're going to add in some vanilla extract along with some all-purpose flour. And we're going to whip that together again until it is nice and smooth. And be very careful here, do it on low because the flour can fly everywhere and get in your face. We ended up using our hands at the end just to make sure everything is nice and compact, and we formed it into a dough ball of sorts. And then this is optional, but we split it into two, and we're going to make two different color toppings. So to both, we're going to add in some cinnamon To the right, we're adding turmeric, and then to the left, we're adding some cacao powder. And just mix that together until it is nice and uniform. I suggest using a spoon and then your hands so that the powder is nice and mixed through. And also a warning, turmeric does stain. We stained our surfaces when we did this, so just be careful. Mix that until everything is smooth, and we are going to get our dough again. It is nice and risen. It is about doubled in size, and we're actually going to divide it into 12 conchas. We weighed out our dough to make sure everything was nice and even. Of course, it is better to have the conchas evenly sized so that they all bake through the same, but if you don't have a scale, you can just guesstimate. Totally works, we've done it before. So we weighed out each dough ball and basically weighed out the large piece of dough, and then we just use a calculator, divided by 12, and then figured out what the weight should be. And once we have those all weighed out, we're going to roll them into nice smooth balls. So as you can see, I'm tucking the dough under and in itself, and this is the easiest way to achieve this smooth ball dough, if that makes sense. So next we're going to grab a lined baking sheet. We're actually using 2 here, but I just grabbed one for the video. We're going to spread the conchas apart. They do expand a lot, so just keep that in mind. We're adding 6 to each baking sheet. So set those aside and prepare your topping. For this, we're doing the same thing that we did with the dough. We're weighing it, and we're actually dividing it into 6 because we have 2 toppings here, so each are gonna cover just half of the conchas. We're going to weigh those out, and then we actually have a piece of parchment paper here, and what we're doing is we're rolling the topping into a ball. Then we're using a jar to roll them out flat into a circle about the size of the concha. And then we're going to bring that over to the conchas, and we're actually going to lay it over and peel off the parchment. This is the easiest way that I found to prevent ripping. And then you just gently press it onto the dough, so it forms a layer over it. And then next up, we're doing the traditional cuts in the conchas. So I just grabbed a knife, and as you can see, I'm doing a rocking motion with the knife. And what I do is I go one way and then I turn the knife and do another way. If you saw, if that makes sense. They also sell molds for this, but I didn't want to buy one. I just decided to do it old school, and it worked perfectly. We're going to cover those with a towel and set them aside again to rise. And once they have risen, we're going to place those into the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes, or until golden brown. And that's it. You have yourself some traditional conchas that are 100% vegan, free of eggs and dairy, and absolutely delicious.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Try out these conchas. Check out Bob's Red Mill.
And make
all
sure
that jazz.
All that fun stuff. Again, we have a discount code down below if you want to grab some Bob's Red Mill products for yourself. And make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. And
thumbs up.
Comment down below. Say hey.
Subscribe if you guys aren't subscribed. I don't know what you're doing.
We post videos every Wednesday and every Friday.
Sometimes Monday when we're feeling crazy. We also have a blog, sweetsimplevegan.com. Maybe you don't know about it. I don't know, but that's where we post this recipe, all other recipes, and other things. We throw in a little bit of lifestyle.
A little bit of.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. If you guys know what I mean. You know what he means.
Of course. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
You give me